Sarah Palin giving one explanation for her stunning decision to step down as governor of Alaska. And it's time now for our Sunday group. Bill Kriston of the Weekly Standard, Jennifer Loven, who covers the White House for the Associated Press, Stephen Hayes, also from the Weekly Standard, and Juan Williams of National Public Radio. So, Bill, you are our resident Palin watcher and booster. You've gotten a fair amount of attention since Friday afternoon for saying that she's crazy like a fox, and this is an interesting and perhaps successful strategy to win her the presidency. Explain.
Well, it's a high-risk move, but the truth is, for those who were doubtful about her, she wasn't going to do anything in the next 18 months as Alaska governor to convince them that she was more qualified than they thought for high office. And this does give her a chance to travel the country, campaign for Republicans in 2010 in a way that's difficult when you're the sitting governor of a state that's pretty far away, study up on issues that it's hard for her to get fully up to speed on as a full-time governor of Alaska. And I think she could have a very strong year and a half here if she's disciplined, if she's imaginative, if she picks the right issues to focus on and to quarrel with President Obama about. But it's high risk. I mean, she's really all in here, and she has no safety net. You know, George W. Bush ran for president as governor of Texas with a whole Bush machine behind him. McCain had his campaign machine from the previous round. Romney had a very professional team. She's really just getting out there, and it's going to depend on her talents and abilities.
Do you believe that, because we heard Lieutenant Governor Parnell basically say she left because she just felt that she was getting bogged down by all the attacks. Do you believe that story, or do you believe what you're saying, which is that this is a strategy to make herself a national political figure and perhaps be president?
I don't know, but I think both. I mean, I do think the attacks were amazing. I mean, she has been the object of more hatred, I would say, and more hatred that has been sort of treated respectfully by the mainstream media than any politician I can remember. And I'm sure it wears on her, and she probably thinks it makes it hard for her to be an effective governor. And she does feel that she can now sort of get out and be sort of on her own. You know, she's depending on her own arms here, and she is going to take it on. And she's had an interesting political career, and I don't rule her out. The odds are against her, but the odds were against her anyway if she'd served out her term. And given that, I think it wasn't a bad idea to go all in and just depend on herself, put together now a team in Washington that can help her, and go for it. But
Jennifer, here's somebody who already had a gravitas issue. Is she up to the job? How does stepping down in the middle of your term during a hastily called July 4th weekend news conference, how does that help with that?
Well, I'm not sure it does. I don't think I can argue that. I think she hit a couple notes that I think are going to hurt her. One, she hit the victim note, which doesn't usually go over well with the public. You want to be a politician selling something good, something positive, a platform to run on, and she hit the victim note pretty hard. And what she's going to get is just more of the same. It's not like she's going to step out of the Alaska governorship and step into a kinder, friendlier, gentler territory. She's going to have incredible scrutiny, perhaps even more scrutiny. And the other note that she hit that I think she's going to have some trouble with is this notion that she's sort of unpredictable and flighty. And again, if you're talking about national leadership, you're talking about running the country, that's not an image you really want to take forward.
Steve, not to put too fine a point on it, but I know that Bill Kriston is your boss. Are you buying his take on the Palin announcement?
You know, Bill is probably the finest magazine editor in the country. And he's a snappy dresser, a wonderful husband and father. No is the short answer. I'm not. I think, look, Sarah Palin had one problem, and since we've known her publicly on the national stage, she's had one problem in particular, and it's that she didn't have a substantive policy base. She didn't have that in the campaign. She hasn't had it in the 7 or 8 months since then, and I think that is and has been and will be her big concern going forward. What I think she did since the election is really a missed opportunity. She could have gone out and made herself the chief Republican spokesman on smart energy policy. And this is something she knows well. She lives in Alaska. It has consequences for her state, national ramifications. We're in the middle of a cap-and-trade debate. She could have positioned herself as somebody who really knew something about that and, sort of taken over a role as a national spokesman. She didn't do that. I think now the pressure will be on her to do that, but she won't have the stature, or she won't have the office from which to make those arguments.
Well, you know what? I mean, she can't even say that she was the one-term governor of Alaska. I mean, because she didn't stand by Alaska. I mean, I think she was in line, it seems to me, as one of the possibilities to run against Lisa Murkowski for the Senate. And Murkowski can now run ads repeating what she said in her statement, that Governor Palin abandoned the citizens of Alaska who gave her the privilege of serving as their governor. So, I mean, the political class around here is all thinking, you know, what could this be about? Because Palin is the most popular Republican right now. She's more popular than Mitt Romney. People don't know Tim Pawlenty, the governor of Minnesota. So if you're looking at Republican opposition to President Obama as he seeks a second term, you're thinking, oh, well, Sarah Palin might be the ticket. But Sarah Palin has taken away her platform as governor that was giving her the opportunity to respond to critics by developing, you know, not only experience, but demonstrating leadership. And, you know, it seems to me then, so what's the answer? It has to be money. It has to be that she's after book deals.
She already had a book deal.
She has a book deal, but she's got to do the book. Maybe she wants to give more speeches for more money. I don't know. Maybe I've read somewhere that NBC might be talking to her about doing a TV show. But if that's the case, then it's just a star turn. She's just got stars in her eyes, and it's all about her. And the base that she wants to appeal to and has success with, which is an evangelical, pretty much Southern base in the Republican Party, I wonder how they're going to respond to someone who's not reliable, not traditional in terms of fulfilling obligations, being steady. It just doesn't seem like a smart move. That's why it's so puzzling. That's why everybody in town is just talking about this. Like, what could she be up to? Is it a strategy, as you were asking, or is it just about her?
Barack Obama ran for the Senate in 2004, was elected to the Senate, and the moment he was sworn in, began running for President of the United States. He had no Senate leadership record to speak of. He didn't spend much time in the Senate, certainly for the last 2 years of his term. He effectively had left the Senate by the time he started living in, or visiting Iowa and New Hampshire, et cetera, in early 2007. And everyone said, ooh, he can't compete with these people with these long records, and what's he ever done? And Republicans like me, he's a community organizer, come on, a one-term senator. He seems to have gotten elected President of the United States. I don't think it is foolish for Palin to think, you know what, if that's the world we live in now, where people, maybe correctly incidentally, don't value years of experience in Washington, or 2 terms counts for more than 2.5 years as governor of Alaska, maybe she thinks she gets out there and she becomes a leader of the conservative movement, and then a leader of the Republican Party, and then conceivably a nominee of the Republican Party, and conceivably a president, just as Obama did.
Well, you know what? Barack Obama had ideas. Barack Obama said he was opposed to the war for whatever, that's what he said, right? Barack Obama said he's going to get the troops out. All right. What is Sarah Palin's critical idea, Bill? What is it that you said?
Well, no, that is the task. But what did Obama have in this? This is, again, the equivalent, just to get back in time, of this middle 2005. Obama had given one good speech at the Democratic Convention in 2004. Palin gave an effective speech at the Republican Convention in 2008. I totally agree that she needs to be serious about taking on a couple of issues, getting well briefed on them, becoming the chief spokesman against the Obama administration on something like energy.
Let's let Jennifer in, since she covers the Obama administration full time.
Well, I was just going to say one thing. I think what she wanted out of this was a game changer, and I don't think she got that, because the people who like her are still going to like her. They're still going to think she has all this moxie and this, this sort of fresh-faced and these positions that they really like. The people who have doubts about her are just going to have the same doubts. All this did was reinforce that. So I'm not sure how she took the game beyond where she was on any stretch.
Jennifer, I want to follow up on this. The White House is absolutely saying nothing publicly.
That's right.
about Governor Palin. What are you hearing behind the scenes? They got to be saying something.
Well, I think they're entertained, and they look at not only what happened with her, but what happened in the last couple of weeks with Senator Ensign and South Carolina Governor Sanford, and they're looking at the field and they're kind of shaking their heads. But they know as well as the rest of us do that it's a very long way until the 2012 race starts in earnest, and there could be someone out there that nobody's even talking about yet that they're going to have to face and really be scared by.
Steve, you get the last word.
Well, I think to go a little bit further than
mostly to attack Bill Kriston.
I will not attack Bill Kriston. I think it actually could be worse potentially for Sarah Palin than Jennifer says. This could be a game changer in a negative way, because it could take people who were willing to sort of suspend their doubts about her and say, okay, this is why I was concerned.
All right, we're going to have to